early voting now open. We want to welcome the Kansas SOS, the Secretary of State, Scott Schwab. Scott, welcome to KCMO.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate being on, and that's why I got my tree from Lowe's. So it's good every year.
brother, I'm here to tell you, and I know we have a lot to cover here, but I as a young man, I tried to do the real Christmas tree thing, and by the time I got done cutting it down, trying to fit it, I think the tree went from about 6 feet to 3. That was the last year I ever had a real one, and I'm with you with the artificial. I like things to look a certain way, and I know what I can expect. That's just my character, and I'm with you on that. Well, how are you, sir? Well, let's talk about.
I'm doing pretty good. As a secretary, we like consistency.
I know. I'm with you right there. You know, we know that Democrats do a really, really good job of getting the word out for vote, getting the early vote taken care of, mail-in ballots and things like that. And I think we've started to see that we need to be as good as they are at it. So let's talk about early voting. And what do I necessarily need to know here, sir?
Well, the first thing for people in Kansas that want to vote early, it's votekansas.gov. And the thing we say is if it doesn't say .gov after it, it didn't come from our office. So if there's a lot of political activist organizations that say, hey, register to vote here, and it says .org, don't go there because I can't guarantee what they're doing with your information, and I can't guarantee they're actually turning the information in. Now, we're past the voter registration deadline this week, but that's the crux of the best place. So see your sample ballot, track your ballot. You can, if you have an advanced mail ballot, you can find your local election office. You can sign up to be a poll worker at votekansas.gov.
So if I go to the website, and I'm on it now, I can see you've got many different icons, business elections, publications, and what you do as far as services. So take me through the election process. When I get to the site, I can see the down ballots. I can see the ballot, what it looks like, and can get informed that way.
Yeah, and so and we encourage people to, make a plan to vote, whether you want to do the early vote or vote on election day. You still want to go there to make sure you know where your polling place is. Many communities are increasing the number of polling places they have to shorten wait times, which I think is fantastic. You want to get in, make your decision, get out. But that means where you voted 4 years ago may not be the same place you vote this time because there's new polling places. So go there, make sure you see what your ballot is. We had redistricting, so whoever used to be your state legislator may not be your state legislator anymore because you're in a new district. So it's real important to know that stuff before November 5th.
Talk to me about, I have a text message here at the 913-408-7957. They would like to know about the voting with ID. Is that a requirement on the Kansas side?
Yes, we do have voter ID in Kansas, and it has to be a government-issued ID. 99% of the people just use their driver's license, but if you have a government ID that's from a state university that has your name and your picture on it, that's legal as well. If you can't afford an ID, go down to your county office, sign an affidavit that says you can't afford it, and one will be provided for you.
I know that people, on the other side would like to stand up and yell and shout that there's misinformation, there's disinformation, and we're trying to suppress the vote, that we make sure that, one, you show an ID, and two, you be a legal voter here in the state. Tell me about your no drastic changes approach, arguing that Kansas had seen enough changes in the voting process and that you wanted to make it as easy as possible.
So the best reflection was in 2020. I think it was Channel 4 or Channel 5 here in Kansas City. They were talking about, election day in the 2020 election. They said, here's the lines in Jackson County. It's a 3-hour wait. You come to Kansas, they're like, hey, we got voting machines that are waiting for voters to show up. There's no lines. But yet we had significantly high turnout. And the reason why we have that is consistency. It goes back to my methodology with the Christmas tree. We don't want drastic changes. We look at election security like cybersecurity. You're getting app updates on your phone frequently because there's cyber concerns and they're trying to increase security. But it doesn't mean you want your app on your phone to change drastically. And it's the same thing with the election system. We don't want you to show up on election day and it's a completely different system because we freaked out about whether or not it's secure. We do data security, we do list maintenance, and we improve security all the time without affecting the experience for the voter. And that's a win in our book.
So if somebody comes out to a poll and they see something they might think is a little nefarious, what do I do in that instance?
It depends on nefarious. I mean, if you see a guy not wearing a shirt, I think that's nefarious, but I'm not sure there's much you can do about it.
I'm talking about people that seem to be, meddling with the election. If I could control what people wore to a polling place, it would be decidedly different.
Yes, it is nefarious. But so if you see some of that looks like it, just like every polling center has a poll judge, and they have authority in that space. And so we had a situation where an activist was affecting election workers, and we had her kicked out. Mm-hmm. And if she came back, we were going to call the police, and which ended up not having to happen out there in Ellis County. But we have a zero tolerance if people are going to try to affect. We had a situation during the recounts in 2022 that one of the counters kept on opening the back door that was meant to stay shut, and she was told not to open it, and then she opened it again. So we just kicked her out. You're out of here. And if she came back on property, she was going to be arrested.
Rules as far as
zero tolerance on
right.
that.
Tell me about this. Rules as far as people that are campaigning, and I know sometimes this happens, but is there a certain amount of space between polling places as far as footage that people have to stay away if they want to? Tell me about that.
Yeah, I think it's 50 feet. I always forget because the legislature always tries to change it, and I think it's 50 feet. It may be 150 feet or 500 feet. But there is a perimeter where it says there's a sign. You'll see them at the polling places in Kansas. It says no campaigning beyond this space. So when they open the early in-person voting places in Johnson County, you're going to see those signs, and then just on the other side of that, you'll see all these yard signs of candidates running for office. So that's the one day, put your campaign T-shirt away or your campaign hat away while you go vote, and then as soon as you get back to your car, you can change into whatever you want. But again, please wear a shirt though.
Either that or make sure your back is shaved. That's for the men and only a portion of the women in the audience. Scott Schwab is here. He is the Secretary of State, Kansas side. I think the good news is at least for Kansas is I never hear too much about Kansas being questioned when it comes to free and fair elections. Would you? That's a true statement, isn't it? I mean, you do a nice job.
Yeah. People criticize us, but there's also people who say the world is flat. You're just never going to convince them.
Right.
But our elections are not run by me. They're run by your neighbors in Kansas. And there's two types of states. You have top down and you have bottom up. Top down are going to be like Georgia, and it's going to be like Michigan, where the Secretary of State tells all the counties what to do. In Kansas, it's run locally. It's a perfect picture of federalism. It's your neighbors that are running the election. They're the ones making sure your vote counts. They're the ones making sure there's no fraud or voter suppression. And then what I do is I just certify their work, and we set basic guidelines across the state. We are also the conduit for federal funds if they need assistance to improve security. But it's your neighbors. And so that's what keeps Kansas so secure, is because it's your neighbors that care about you, love about you. They go to school with you, or they go to the same sports activities as you. And that's what really keeps it secure, because these are people you have relationships with.
You should make it an absolute law that you have to be a Chiefs fan if you want to vote in this area.
Well, I need poll workers in western Kansas, and they're closer to Denver.
Oh, that's a shame. I understand, though, sir. I understand.
Not a dang thing I can do about it.
The way of the world. Scott Schwab, we appreciate the visit. Thanks very much.
Thank you. You have a great afternoon.